The censorship must stop. Congress must restore constitutional protections enshrined in the First Amendment.
Nice.
Madam Speaker, I rise in support of this rule and in support of the underlying legislation, H.R. 140, which went through regular order, which was marked up in the Oversight Committee, where Democrats had copious opportunities to offer amendments and to change the bill, as did Republicans. H.R. 140 is called the Protecting Speech from Government Interference Act, and it would prohibit federal employees from using their official authority to censor a private entity, including outside of normal duty hours or away from an employee's normal duty post.
Hold on now. Hold on now. I think this might have a little something to do with the Twitter files. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay, let me continue. I'm sorry. Let me continue. Pay attention, Van.
Under President Biden, administration officials and federal bureaucrats have abused their positions, authority, and influence to encourage censorship and erode Americans' First Amendment rights. Recently released reports have uncovered efforts by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Centers for Disease Control, the Department of Homeland Security, and other government agencies to pressure social media companies and internet providers to censor and remove speech posted on social media platforms. Advocates for this censorship flagged certain posts and users as spreading misinformation on various topics.
And Lauren Boebert was talking about this exact same thing, but we're going to go ahead. I'm glad that they're talking about this because people have been kicked off of certain platforms for saying things that was covering. Ooh, let me be quiet.
Flagged certain posts and users as spreading misinformation on various topics, including racial justice and the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Executives at Facebook and Twitter have admitted that prior to the 2020 presidential election, after warning from the FBI, they censored the sharing of news regarding Hunter Biden's laptop leak, which has since been proven true. It was not a Russian disinformation campaign.
Y'all hear that, right? Here's the thing, though, and I need to stress this. I'm just going to say this once, and I'm going to get right back to the video. I promise you. I have to say this. This is extremely important. He's making so much sense right now, but it means absolutely nothing if people who have been fed the lies don't hear him. If people who have been fed the lies don't hear him, what's the point of what's the point of him talking and giving these truths? Because right now it's just circulating inside of an echo chamber. All I'm saying to you is this: make sure, please. It will behoove you as a supporter of truth, of actual truth, to share the video out there on your social media platform, so that someone who is on the left, who is claimed to be in the middle, or somebody who's just purposefully deaf, dumb, and blind to whatever the truth is, because they've been paid so well just not to pay attention to what's going on this side, make sure that they see it. All right, so I ain't gonna talk no more. I'm jumping off my soapbox. Okay, there you go.
Even former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, during a July 2021 press briefing, called on Facebook to ban specific accounts from its platform. Congress should recognize that the biggest spreader of misinformation over the last several years, whether it's been about elections or has been the federal government. The censorship must stop. Congress must restore constitutional protections enshrined in the First Amendment. H.R. 140 and the amendments that are pending votes here as well are critical to ensure that government officials can never again promote censorship and pressure private entities to suppress Americans' First Amendment rights.
Let's see if we see a daggone hashtag out there of H.R. 140.
Additionally, the rule before us provides for consideration of H.J. Res. 27, a resolution providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Department of Army Corps of Engineers, Department of Defense, and the Environmental Protection Agency relating to revised definition of waters of the U.S. It's Groundhog Day again in America. Every time the administration changes, this rule changes. The Biden administration's new rule would radically redefine the term waters of the United States to expand the federal government's authority in regulating bodies of water. Specifically, Biden's EPA would expand the term to include impoundments of jurisdictional waters, tributaries, adjacent wetlands, and additional waters. To be clear, what the Biden administration is pushing through here will heap serious burdens on farmers, small businesses, home builders, and rural communities across our country.
Yep.
In 1972, Congress didn't tell the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers, do whatever you think is necessary to protect water. That's not what the bill said, yet that's what they've taken as their directive. The Clean Water Act was never intended to be applied as broadly as the Biden administration is proposing. Every member of Congress should be concerned about the EPA's attempt to expand its authority over individuals' private property and regulate farms and communities, even those which lie far away from any lakes, rivers, or streams, and very far away from Washington, D.C. Congress has the constitutional authority and responsibility to provide oversight and to review regulations issued by the executive branch. If the executive branch promulgates rules that could overstep their authority, as President Biden is doing here, it is vital that we exercise
overstepping their authority. Oh man, did they vote on this? Did it pass? Or is this connected? Oh, he's trying to get rid of the H-140. Okay.
Our oversight authority in Congress. Finally, the rule before us provides for consideration of Senate 619, the 19 Origin Act of 2023, which would finally declassify any information relating to potential leaks between the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the origin of COVID-19. In 2020, at the height of the pandemic, anyone who spoke out questioning whether COVID-19 might have come from the Wuhan lab in China was denounced as a conspiracy theorist, and their words were labeled as dangerous misinformation.
Yep, and now they are seeing that it came directly from the Wuhan lab. And guess what? Nobody was held accountable yet. Or am I wrong? Am I wrong? Was anybody held accountable at this point? Because if it came from the Wuhan lab, oops, my bad. Nah, that don't work. Somebody need to damn go to jail, bruh. For a long ass time. I'm sorry. Is that just me? Maybe that's just me. My bad. For real, because they killed a lot of daggone people.
People were censored online, their accounts were suspended, and their reputations were damaged for questioning the origins of COVID-19.
It seemed like the people who was questioning the origins of got dealt with a little worse than the freaking people who created.
What's the difference between conspiracy theory and the truth? About 2 years. We've seen them call natural immunity conspiracy theories.
It was no accident. Let's go ahead and put the kibosh on that right now. I probably won't ever say it again in any other video I do, but it was no accident.
We've seen them call people who said that masks don't work or conspiracy theorists, and now we're finding out that all of those conspiracy theorists, so-called, were accurate. Fast forward to today, even the government admits it. The Department of Energy and the FBI have both publicly reported their conclusions that likely emerged as a result of a lab leak from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, a research institute in Wuhan, China, controlled by the People's Republic of China and ultimately the Chinese Communist Party.
Let me guess what's their argument? It wasn't safe to release the information yet. It wasn't responsible to release the information if we're still trying to research and we have people jumping ahead of the line and saying things that might cause a whole commotion amongst the people in America, then that will be irresponsible. That could hurt us more than it could help us. So we have to shush anybody who put that information out there, because it would be irresponsible and untimely. No, they knew what they was doing, bruh. All I'm saying. And that was a bit of I'm not going to say devil's advocate. That was God's advocate. Yeah, that was God's advocate.
And was it funded in part by our government? Yes, it was. This legislation is long overdue and is necessary to expose the truth about the origins of Americans deserve to see the information. President Biden could have released this information at any point.
He said, He said someone ate a week old bat soup in case closed.
It could have been released a year ago. It could be released today without this resolution. But this resolution is important because the president has not released this information. The last Congress, led by Speaker Pelosi, could have voted to do what we're doing here today. But no, they wanted it to remain hidden from the American public. I fear the federal government has been involved in a cover-up about the origins of because they are afraid of being exposed as culpable in the creation of the disease at the center of the pandemic. And to my colleague's point about the videos that were released on Monday, I think the other side of the aisle is out of touch and out of step with the American public on this. A recent poll by Rasmussen showed that 81% of likely voters believe that all of the tapes should be released. The Democrats had 2 years to release these tapes, but 81% of voters believe that. Is that just Republicans? No, 86% of Republicans and 78% of Democrats, they're out of step with their own party, believe that these videotapes should be released because Americans deserve to know the truth and the defendants in these trials deserve to have the evidence they need to present their defense. I urge my colleagues to support this rule and reserve the balance of my time.
And all they're doing, like, you can put out all the daggone tapes and release all the tapes you want. But guess what? Saturday Night Live and Trevor Noah has gotten in front of them and said, hey, it's a joke, guys. It's a joke. Huh? They just trying to daggone put out other information. You know, they edited it, right? They edited all that. So that's what you're dealing with.